Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Amelia Keely. I live in Washington. And welcome to everybody. Some of you are new faces, some of you I know, and some of you are watching this recording back. So just a little background on me. Well, right now I'm sitting in my parents' office because when our school was actually, I think, one of the first districts, we're in Washington, shut down. So for like a week and a half, we've been doing homeschooling, school from home. And my background, a little bit about me, is I was a former elementary school teacher. I have my master's in teaching, and I had a focus in literacy and was a classroom teacher for 7 years and did some work at our district and things with instructional things with teachers. And then when I had my first son, who's now 7 years ago, and I had another business called Stella and Dot that I do from home. So anyway, so I'm just offering, now that's what I do. So I'm just offering some tips as going through trying to manage this. And I just want to also say that hi to everyone's going to be popping on. There's like no perfect way. I am not claiming to be an expert in anything. Please don't blast me for like some sort of expert something. I'm just sharing tips and tricks that I'm trying to take from like my classroom experience to my mom experience, to being home with the kids and how long this is going to be. It's going to be for the long haul and kind of what works for my kids. So what's working for me, also you're gonna have to personalize it to your kids. But what I realized the reason I'm doing this also is I had a lot of friends who we were having one-on-one conversations, and I kind of was giving some of the same tips over and over. And I was like, I might as well do a Zoom call. People can ask questions, and then we can share resources and do all that together. There is a place where you can type. I'm watching the text chat, so if you guys want to type any of there, or you can unmute yourself, or and I'm gonna at the end share resources, and feel free to email me for anything that I forget. I tend to ramble on these things, and then I forget what I was going to talk about or whatnot. So I'm going to break it down just a little bit for you. So what I have here is just my top tips that I'm going to kind of share. What I would do, I'm going to give some actual like tactical things that you could use for the different subjects. And I'll tell you why I'm just kind of focusing on the core subjects. And then just some funsy little things that I've been doing that are working for our family. And then I'll open it up to any sort of Q&A. And Beth asked me some really good questions that I'll have her ask at the end, because I think those are good ones. As we have so much technology in our hands, how much we should be doing technology-wise and pen and paper. And then my friend Amy, who I was at UW and went to my master's program with, is a current kindergarten teacher right now. And so she's going to pop on too and give us some tips as well for that. She has 2 girls that are two twins actually that are my son's age. So, and this is mostly elementary focused. I'm going to give you examples from first and K and second grade. These can be applied. You just do at the levels of 4, 5, 6, even into middle school and some things like that. So the first thing, and I'm giving you my advice. So I know other people have other ways, and I've actually seen the pendulum on the full thing of like, I'm not teaching my kids, I'm letting them stay outside and during this time and come in to eat, and that's it. Great for you. Some people have a really regimented schedule. From 9 to 9:30 I'm doing this, from 9:30 to 10 I'm doing this. That is also very hard to keep up with kids. You can't even do that very well in the classroom when you're managing everyone, let alone with your yahoos at home and trying to make food and other people around. So my advice to you is number one, you do need to get I made this, and I'm happy to send it to anybody. I'm a nerd and have a laminator. So does somebody else on this call that told me that. You can also put this in you could print a bunch off. They could use it every day. You could put it in one of those sleeves and check it. But basically, as far as the schedule goes, I would say get kind of a routine down, not necessarily a strict schedule. So the routine is going to be important for the kids knowing every day, because this is going to be a long haul. Like, we are here at least until the 27th of April, at least. So we know that our kids' brains are best active in the morning. So I have, math and reading and writing is going to be the first things that are going to be top of mind when they wake up. I have their things setting. The kids get up usually, if I'm with the baby, before me. So I have their things that they could do on their own sitting at their desks that they can do. So the first thing is like getting this schedule. This is for them to check off. So they have math and reading, and I put under it what we're doing for reading. You could just have generic subjects. Move your body every day. Sometimes it's outside playing a game. Sometimes it's using Go Noodle and doing a dance. That's a great web story I can give you. Maybe we're going to ride bikes. Writing, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the specific skill of writing. And extras, there's so much more we can do now that we are at home. And that's sometimes overwhelming to people, like, oh, I'm not a craft mom. I'm not a like cooking mom, whatever. There is actually really easy ways to do all these little extras, and to do them in ways that like your kids are super interested in. And then art, there's a million with different ways we can do art, right? And then a thing I like to have at the bottom of this, however you do it, is just a check-in with your kids so that they're thinking about their learning every day. Is my favorite thing I learned today was blank. And today was a 1 through 10. And so I just kind of put that on there as a guideline. Change it what you want. I can send you a generic one. I'll get emails maybe later and I'll send them to you. And then they're responsible for checking them off. I'll tell you about tickets later. We use this for tickets as well. And this just helps me, like, what did we do today? I forgot. And then prepare your space materials. That's the other thing I would suggest. I got these and I let the kids decorate their own like you do in a classroom. Gave them stickers, put their name on it. And this is theirs that they're going to have every day. This is what they have their work in that they need to complete for that day. So it's like waiting for them if I have a worksheet or something like that, or I might save it. But anyways, kind of getting them invested in this was that. For free time and choice time, I was going to talk about this later, but I'll kind of talk about it now. We made this like choice time bingo board, and not all the spots are filled in because we need some more. But what this is a time that basically, like, I need you to go like do something, like they do choice time at school, that is like go play with Legos. Or some of them require me. And I like want to do those things. Like I have things like we're going to make a bird feeder because we have pine cones, peanut butter, and bird seed, like not that big, but like baking or cooking, that requires me. There's a lot that don't. Painting, making cards for people. Some of them make a business. Some of them we came up with themselves. They want a Lego challenge where I challenge them to both build a car, and then they have to like build a car. Play-Doh's a great one. Make slime, do a science experiment. And then I hearted the ones that they can do on their own without me, and other ones that we're not going to choose that day because they require me, and it's a planning thing. So that's kind of, and they're and with all this, the honeymoon often will wear off and we'll have to do something else later. Maybe we'll do another board later, or maybe we'll do a spin the wheel type board after bingo gets checked off, trying to kind of keep it fun. But it's mostly like I'm directing it. I want their buy-in. So they're adding things, but it's like you're kind of in control, but they have the buy-in because they're helping create some of the items of what they really want to do. And, we're all limited. We're not going to any libraries. We're not going to the zoo. We're not doing any of those sort of things, but you can now go to the zoo online. I'm going to share with you, one of the things was like 101 Netflix educational shows. So I just said, like, watch a learning show. One day, great. Tune them into the TV and let them watch a learning show. Then if you want to do something at that, like while they're doing it, like write down 2 facts while you're learning that were interesting. And we're going to talk about them. It can be like as simple as that because it's like activating their learning. So, okay, so that's kind of like space and materials. The next thing I would say is like give yourself grace. The number one thing that I've heard from moms is like, I'm losing my shit. Like, there's no way I can do this. I can't stick to my schedule. Like, it's fine. If, kids take 3 months off in the summer and they're okay. My goal and like my perspective on this is if you can just keep their brains working that muscle of math, reading, and writing, the things that kind of, and like they're gonna do art because we're here. Like I keep not saying that art is important and those other things, music, but if I can keep that sharpened, you're not trying to teach them the new concept in multiplication. You're not trying to teach them it's just like keep giving them practice. And honestly, the more that they feel like they can conquer something and feel success, fine. Give them a work page that's super easy for them. And then they can do it without your help. So a lot of times I feel like that is a good thing to do, is like set them up for like things that they can do on their own without you like standing there helping them, because it's hard ping-ponging back and forth. So the goal is practice and a lot of hands-on, because now we're at home. So for example, Beth asked a question about like math. Do I feel like I'm giving, I don't want to necessarily just do flashcards all the time. Like, what else can we do? And I was saying like just everyday math can be like we talked about for her kindergartner, going around the house on a shapes hunt and find triangles and squares, or dumping stuff on the toys on the table and saying, sort them all by color, taking the same ones and saying, sort them all by size. Having your older kids do like, build something big, small, they build something and you need to build something bigger. You need to build something with a 3D, you know, like math is all of those other things that you can do. And then you can, like, it's okay to use flashcards, like do a fun game of it. Like, how fast can we, if they know them, like how fast can we do the flashcards? Or what if I did them backwards? Or, you know, every flashcard you get a Cheerio, you know, or just, you know, some fun thing like that. Just like kind of practicing those things. And then I'll talk a little bit about like subject matter. And are there any questions so far about any of this stuff? So I want to stop and like, what are you guys wanting to hear? What are your biggest concerns? Is it a schedule? How long should I do things? Is it the actual content of like, how do I talk about reading and math? How do I talk about writing? My school gave me nothing, so I don't know what to do for 6 weeks. Go ahead.
What about trying to wade through all the free resources that we are finding online and what's decent and what's not? Like, I signed the kids up that I'm homeschooling for extra math, and they got on it today, and it was so lame. I mean, this kid was like, he's 4th grade doing 6th grade math, and it was single digit addition. And then it was like, that's all for today.
Yeah.
So what are the actual decent sites?
So I'll try to round up some more for you. I know right now that like Brain Pop and Starfall are 2 good ones. And I'll share those. And I, like, as much as like you'd think this would, like, in a classroom, this isn't what I would say. This is like opposite of classroom teacher thing. At home, I say do this. Workbooks. In a classroom, workbooks are not great because you're teaching everybody the same level. You're not individualizing education. It's busy work. At home, it's great. Because not only do they think of, like, I would get some different workbooks. And if that kid who is in 4th grade is struggling, or like it's super easy for them, get the next workbook up. Okay. So I got my son, I looked through the 1st grade and I was like, he can do all these math concepts. So I got him the 2nd grade math and the 2nd grade reading stuff. Because, and then I figured I could like pull ones out that do that. And so the thing with workbooks is they vary the learning style. So sometimes, you know, they will do like grouping things together, and sometimes they'll leave missing numbers and it's algebraic, you know, and they have to find it that way. They'll do, you know, fact families. The other thing that's another option is when you're doing these things and your kid like is really involved in it, or, you know, maybe they had a really hard time counting by 2s, or, you know, something like that. A tip is then go to Starfall is a website where you can make these great resources. I'll try to find one. But you can go in and do like times, multiplication, and like kind of pick more worksheets that way. Now I'm giving you like, these are teachers asking me these questions. And so these are like, this is like doing above and beyond. If you don't want to go ever get another worksheet, let them do the math workbook and move on and give them a sticker.
Is Starfall right now free? I thought it was only partially free.
Well, I've been only using whatever they give me free. So whatever I'm getting is free stuff.
Okay.
I'm sure there are ones that are not, but you know, I customized this to like what letters I wanted him to do, and then they cut it out and sorted.
Nice.
And you could just do a bunch of those. This workbook, I don't know if anyone has boys. So I really love Brain Quest.
And like, tell me this. This
Oh,
is what I
yeah,
need.
yeah.
Voice
Yes.
and math.
So I love Brain Quest. We're going to go into this real quick. So this is by Brain Quest, and they are the people, I'm trying to find their, I did these in the summer where it was between grades. You could actually do this right now and pick the grade that the kid's almost into.
Right, that they're going into.
Right. So like, and what this is really great too, because it's not math, then reading, then whatever. It's like, it's math, and then it's writing, and then it's shapes, and then it's sentences, and then it's days of the week,
Ooh,
and then it's drawing. So I like Brain Quest. And then the way I actually just found these ones is I was looking just the other day at Brain Quest, and I saw that they came out with all these Star Wars ones. My boys love Star Wars. So I looked, and they're actually great concepts. So it's by the makers of Brain Quest.
Okay.
Look for them. I haven't even looked much elsewhere, but when I find something I like, I don't want to spend my time like going to find other ones. I'm like, this is great. This has a map that they go through lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, a roadmap where they get stickers. Okay, my friend Amy that's joining us just asked me to send her our URL so she can join. Let's see if it's still, oh gosh. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna share that with her. Let's see. Okay, so I would do that with, I really like that one. The other one I found is just like, it's everywhere. It's like, these were at Costco. Don't say Costco, it's a bad word, I know, right now. But like, you can probably get it online. But I think this is by Scholastic. And there's another one by what's called ABC Learning. And this is super thick. They can do multiple a day. And then so what I'm doing with the boys is I had them each pick a tag color, and I tag the ones that I want them to do the next day. So before I go to bed, get yourself organized. I tag what they'll be doing in each day. So if they want to come down and do them, I'm directing when I get there, and I set the timers on Alexa for how long we're doing these different things. But they kind of like knowing like the tags of what they're doing. And then the other 2 workbooks that are good and just kind of fun is just like Melissa and Doug's Scissor Skills. It's an activity pad. This is dry erase art, just kind of like drawing things. Some people are super like artsy and will come up with their own lessons themselves if you just want things like this. And then like, so in that way too, if you're doing, the Star Wars thing and the kids are doing like one of the writing things had to do with, let's see. So if you wanted to do like art with it, one of them was like, I see starships, write about starships using, period and, blah, blah, blah. Then have them draw their own starship. Give them a piece of paper, have them label it, paint it, and write what their starship does. Because they've already like done a little bit of work on it. Like you can just do any sort of art and math on that. Hi, Amy. That's Amy who's joining us. I already said that you're my friend that's the kindergarten teacher that's going to kind of join. So I'm just going
sorry I'm late.
Oh, it's fine. I'm going over a couple things. I was just going over some like workbooks that I like, some things to do at home, and I was going to actually kind of, there are lots to purchase online. Yeah. So hopefully Kathy and Mary Leah, I answered your questions on the workbook. Amy, I was just sharing that as a classroom teacher, you never use workbooks. But at home, I think it's like a great resource for parents that don't know. It just gives you a guide of like what to do if you have no resources. So.
Whatever works these days.
Okay, so I'm going to go into the subject. So this is kind of great that Amy is talking. I'm going to talk a little bit about like activating their brain during math, reading, and writing. And I think with I'll start with reading, and then we'll move into the other ones. But there's a couple different ways that like you could do your practice reading a day. It does not mean the kid has to have a log and read 20 minutes every single day for the next 6 weeks and they're burnout on reading by themselves. It can be, and you could have them choose every day. You could have them like pick which one of these they're going to do. It could be read to self at a level book that they are comfortable in, read to someone else. Do they have a sibling, another parent here? I'm with my mom, so like they could read to the grandparents, or you read. And there's a couple different ways to activate their reading thinking. And Amy, you can chime in after and share this. But like, you know, if they're reading something that is like a nonfiction or something, I will stop and ask, like this one's about planets, and they said something about like there are 5 planets, blah 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 blah, and I'll be like, a couple of pages later, I'll be like, wait, how many planets did they say there were on that? Just to make sure that like they're activating their thinking, and I'm asking them like actual questions out of the text. That's like textual that they're reading that. Then there's questions you can ask. Yeah, about, we were reading, sorry, my book's dropped. This is a book that I like. So if you're ordering things on Amazon, we're just throwing money at the problem here. These are, and you don't have to do any of these, just regular books at home that you already have are great too. These are, we both read, where one page is harder for the parent and one page easier, and they have levels 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we'll read them together, and they have stuff inferred in them. So for instance, this one, the girl, I kind of already shared about this, but this girl doesn't want to do the talent show, and she keeps dodging it, and she doesn't want to do it, and she never really says why. So like I stopped and was like, gosh, I don't know why she doesn't want to do this. And my son's like, well, because she has stage fright. And so like he's clearly understanding the clues, but they never said stage fright. So like that tells me he is understanding me reading and him reading. And like, so, you know, those kinds of questions as you guys are like reading, to stopping and kind of asking those questions, like, why is everybody laughing? Does he understand they're all laughing at that person? Or do they understand like stopping when they're reading and just kind of activating their brain? Or like, you know, looking at this and being like, so what do you think this is going to be about? Like, what is, you know, and that's activating their brain before they start reading, of getting them to just start thinking before you read to them or they do or whatever. I was talking about another parent who asked me, what about when I read to them? And how do I activate them and just zoning out? And what I would say to that is like, I'll give a couple of tips. I think, Mary Leah, I'm going to mute you because you have a little feedback. When you're reading a book that is like a little bit harder, one thing you can do is like give them a Post-it note, and whenever they hear a word they don't know, they can like write it down, or if they're too little, they could like put their finger on their nose, or and then you guys could either they could put it on a word wall, or you could just stop and talk about it, or give them little Post-its when they run into something they don't know. It's just like kind of activating their thinking as they're reading. And my tip is like during this time, like it would be fun to read them a book that is a movie, and then you could read the book, then watch the movie, and you guys could talk about like what was the same and what was different. Okay, and then like for phonics, somebody was asking me about sight words, how to keep up with those, or like, do I just do flashcards? You can do all sorts of things, even on doing like, you could make go fish with sight words. You could make a matching game. You could, you know, it doesn't really have to be so.
How are you?
Oh, Becky's saying hi to
Hey, Amelia, can I jump in here for a second?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, Amy.
I came in kind of late, so I don't know the ages of the students. Is it an age range, or is it mostly
Elementary,
primary?
mostly.
Okay, like 3rd grade and under?
Mostly. Yeah.
Mostly?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Are there any, was it questions about literacy mostly?
Well, I was just going through each. I was going to go reading first, and then I was going to do math, and I was going to give some writing stuff.
Oh, okay.
We just kind of went over like getting a routine and a schedule, like an idea of what you want to do each day, not a strict schedule. But go ahead, reading tips.
Oh, I was going to say, for reading, you want to just kind of, there's like the big 5 in reading: comprehension, word work, which encompasses phonics and sight words. and then there's fluency practice. So you want to kind of hit those throughout the week if you can. That's what a teacher would be doing in the classroom. And obviously teachers are not wanting you guys to become teachers, but if you can, that's the goal. So doing some word work, not every day, but within the week. So there should be some sort of list of words that your kids have come home with. If they haven't, then you can get those online. Just look up sight words for your grade level, and you should come up with at least words that will help them. So sight words, aren't words that you sound out at all. They're just words that you memorize, and you shouldn't try to sound them out. So they're just words that you need to memorize by heart. So like Amelia said, coming up with fun games. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. Like you can make it a cool flashlight game and put them on cards and put them around the room, and then turn out all the lights, and then have them have a flashlight, and they turn on their flashlight, and whatever word that they have their flashlight on, they say that word, or mix them up and play a game with them, or like have some fun pens. Like my daughters love to write their words with like glittery pens or rainbow words, and kind of think about interest building. Or you can make their words in Play-Doh. I like to put like,
and you can do that with kindergarten. You can do that too with like the kindergarten. They could do shapes with Play-Doh. You could pour rice in a pan, and they could trace them in rice.
Or like sprinkles or sand or anything like that. Anything tactile or sensory is really good with those types of words.
Yeah, and like, when you're working on fluency, you can show them how that's a really great modeling one, that like you're showing them how it sounds when somebody is talking, and you can show a non-example when you're reading in a book, how it's hard to follow a non-example when somebody doesn't pay attention to like the fluency of it and how they can. And you'll start to tell as you're like listening lots to your kids read what they need. Some kids barrel through all punctuation and just like word. Other kids, all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of mix it up and change it. So any other like reading or phonics questions? I'm trying to just hit the tops of it so we can get into other ones. And I'm happy to like brainstorm ideas for you specifically on your age group or anything like that, or your specific child.
I think
So
yeah, I think that's,
sorry, Christine.
our neighbors. So our kids are like all the same ages. And I think I personally just want to make sure like I'm not like they're not falling behind, because I'm a high school teacher. So like I don't have to like, I'm not patient. So that's
We're not patient either.
being patient to like read. I'm like, I don't want to do that. And my husband's a middle school administrator. So like, we don't do the little kid thing. We just have lots of them, but we don't teach them. And
I think that's it's a super valid point. You do need to recognize,
a kindergarten teacher,
call out that like you need to give them more wait time than you think. So like when they're working on something, their little minds, like sometimes you're like, oh my God, spit it out, but their little minds sometimes need a little bit more time for the patients to like get that out and do the thinking.
So I'm supposed to start drinking wine at 9 a.m.
Exactly. And you can't, and I don't feel like you're invested in their education because you're on this call and you're doing things with them. They're not going to fall super behind.
Okay. I think that was just my main concern. And my young, like, number one, like he's in first grade. He's not my issue. He's my one that wants to know everything we're doing every time of the day. Like he's very type A. My second one is going into kindergarten next year. He's my like, just, peace, love, and happiness child. Like if we just played in sand all day, he'd be fine.
So like,
and I don't think that's a bad, I'm a kindergarten teacher. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't.
I know.
Because I think that pre-K kids, if you try to force work on them, it's going to backfire on you. So I would use this time to just have family experiences, and you can mathematize your world around you. So cook with him and mathematize that experience for him. or go out and take a walk and talk about all the things that you see that are popping up around spring, and then go home and model for him how to write down his ideas or story, and then have him draw the picture that matches the story that you two wrote together. So I wouldn't force any type of like worksheet stuff with that age. I would just really make it authentic, because you don't want them to, you don't want it to be a power struggle. It's not going to be fun.
I
Christine,
love
if it
the
makes
idea though with like the sprinkles in like a pan.
Yeah.
Because he needs work with writing, and he's a lefty, so he's been all messed up this year.
and like scissor work and cutting things, and
So I wrote that
Those,
scissor book down.
yeah,
yeah.
and like tracing stuff, or
Yeah.
something that maybe even you drew, or he could write in dirt outside. But like, if it makes you feel better, Christine, I'm a teacher, and I did, like Amy said, I didn't have my kids learn to read before they went to kindergarten. I did no pressure in learning before. I let them play as much as they wanted. That's what they should be. And you can, like she said, with like, you can mathematize pretty much anything. You can kind of do that with reading too. Like, you can pick out words. They can pick out letters. That letter when you're cooking out of a recipe book, like just little things like that.
Okay, I love that.
That age loves to write lists. Loves lists.
Yeah.
So make a list of all of your favorite toys. Make a list of all your family members. Make a list of all your friends' names. So like a topic a day. They love to write lists, because writing a word at that age is where it's developmentally appropriate. They shouldn't be writing sentences yet. So just word, like draw a picture of this and label it. Draw a picture of this, label it.
And they might write like ice cream just has the letter I. And that's like really good, because they would know that I goes with it. That's perfect writing at that developmental age.
Okay, good.
Or even drawing at that age, what they're thinking, that's right. That's writing.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
At that
Or drawing a picture and then labeling their picture. So if they draw a picture of like a truck and a road and a sun and a tree, well, you could talk about, well, what does sun start with? So let's listen to that sound. And then if they put an S, that's great. That's labeling. And then you can stretch out those sounds. That's beginning emergent writing.
I love it.
And there's I haven't looked, but there's all kinds of songs that sing songs about sounds and letters, and
I love it.
There's a website called Pre-K Fun, I think, and that has lots of poems and songs.
Okay, I'll look that up.
Perfect. So the other thing, like kind of moving into like writing stuff too, is like, I would just highly suggest, like Amy said, making everything super authentic to what you're doing and what they're invested in. So like older kids could, like, my son's really into money right now, and he wants to like count money, do money. And then his thing, I was like, well, he can like write about having a business, and his writing can be, what's your logo going to be? What do you want to have? Like, just making everything very authentic to what's happening with them. I have some ideas here that I wrote down that I've just compiled, so that if you're like writing ideas, and then obviously take this to like whatever level you have. If they're little, they're going to just draw a picture of something. And then older ones can like write 3 describing sentences and can like label with a picture and like color it nicer. So like a couple great ideas are like writing letters. And a friend gave me this, that her son was writing letters to companies that he liked, snail mail. And like a couple of them sent him a book. And so I thought that was cute, like actual writing a letter to something that they like and enjoy. Coming up with a business idea, even the little ones, like if you could have any business, what would it be? Little ones would like love that. Making a timeline that would be fun for them about their lives. They are very egocentric, as we know. So anything about their life, their animals, what they want, their wishes, they're going to like love sharing about. Persuasion is super fun, to have them write a persuasive whatever to you. Like, is there a rule that you want changed? Is there something you wish you could do? That's fun. We did a how-to with my son and his little friends, and they both did a how to make their favorite sandwich. And then they drew a picture of it. Writing about their heroes, or what kind of superhero they would maybe be. And then you could even like make that into an art project. Like you could make them their little logo and they could play superheroes and they could, you know, you could even cook and do something around that. So anyway, just bringing in their, I had something else under writing that I was going to say, but like letters, memories. So this is more for older kids, but like, you could do short little snippets, and this is kind of for upper elementary, but you could tame it down of like, you could have every day and their little like journal, and this is paper off Starfall that I printed, that free website. I just got one page with a picture spot and lines, and then just lined pages, and I stapled them together. And you could do like, this was the one when they did how to make a sandwich. And you can see my son's was so messy, I made him erase it and redo it. It was terrible. But like, and you can like just do these things one off, or you could like, if they're really invested, you could develop even further, and then they could make a brochure, and then they could, sometimes you can tell they're super invested in things, and sometimes they're like that. It's like pulling teeth to get them to do it and just move on and go to the next thing. I think the thing with writing, especially as you get into upper grades, is just stamina. Writing is the one skill that takes the most amount of, you got to tell your brain what you want to say, then your brain has to tell your hand how to do it, and then you have to know the right things to put it on the page, dexterity to like do the work. So it's a lot of things all working together. And so just practicing that stamina that they are doing some sort of writing, could be a letter, could be their name, could be shapes, like, I think is just what you want to keep up kind of during this time, and letting them get invested in things that they're liking. I think that's kind of all my notes on that. Writing recipes, ideas for things.
Younger kids, like primary age kids, love to write books. So if you put like 3 or 4 pages together, just like the kind of paper Amelia said to use with the picture and a few lines, then each page is a different part of the story. So kindergarten, first grade, and second grade is really working on beginning, middle, and end of stories. So like a kindergarten would have 3 pages, 1 page for the beginning, 1 page for the middle, 1 page for the end. First grade would obviously have more details in the middle, so maybe 5 pages, and then second grade can take it a bit further with details. But I would have, it more basic for those younger kids.
And like adding in at the upper grades, like a hook in the beginning, like, things like that. Like it's first and second grade, it was like, do you know how to make one of your favorite kind of sandwiches? Or like, things like that. That's kind of a more advanced like writing skill that you can kind of work with. My 1-year-old's at the back. Can you see him at the door with his little walker? He's trying to get in. He can hear me.
Have you guys talked about some online resources?
No, do you want to go into those? I was just going to talk about math, but I was going to do research.
There's a couple good ones. I mean, obviously we don't want our kids on computer, tablet all the time, but I think these are desperate times. So a few things is great. So Storyline Online is a great resource. It's like actors who they read stories to the kids out loud. And then there's, Amelia mentioned starfall.com. And then Kids A to Z, which is also known as Raz Kids. That's leveled reading. So that would be really great for those kindergarten, first, second grade kids. And right now, it's usually schools have to pay for it. It's like $150 per class. So right now it's free. So you don't get all of the features that they would get in school, but I think they're offering some features for all families right now. So that one was Raz Kids or Kids A to Z.
And I think I haven't clicked farther into it, but what I was first looking at first glance with the Scholastic, what they're doing right now is theirs is like real set. Like you just pick day one and it's like bing, bang, boom. And it's like all there and the lessons there and it's leveled and like, it's like handed on a plate for you. So I think that's a really great resource too, if you're feeling uncomfortable of like thinking of things your own. And it's got both nonfiction and fiction in it, which I think is great. And it does get overwhelming, I will say, on the like whole resources type thing of like, you don't need I mean, I literally saw one list that was like 4 pages long of different websites. And I'm like, who has time to click through all of these websites? It's like by the time the
But
kids
I
go
think,
to bed, I'm exhausted.
yeah. But I think if you use the ones that teachers actually use in the classroom, like I use Storyline Online. We use Raz Kids. Epic is another good one for books. Epic, EPIC, and Books, VOOKS is another one. Those are resources that teachers use in the classroom.
I'll send, Amy and I will share resource and I'll send if you guys send me an email, I was going to send some things out because some people are asking for like a checklist too, of like the different things. The other thing that I was going to say that Amy just reminded me and now I forgot about, if you have a younger child, one of the apps I found, it's by Duck Duck Moose and it's their phonics. It's like Duck Duck Moose Read, but it's for phonics and it's like drag all the letters with the P sound into his mouth. And if they touch it, it'll say like popcorn and pink and whatever. And they can drag them in and they can fully do it on their own. So my son's going to be in kindergarten next year and he loves it. And it's really developmentally appropriate. And I let him do that for part of his reading time in phonics. And then they actually have to put words together like hen, pen, men, dragging words in sounds.
That's what I was going to ask. So because Reeves has that, and Reeves and Cohen are the same age, and so he does that already. And so I was wondering, I'm like, this is my idiot stuff. I'm like, is that reading and writing? Because there's letters. So I'm like, is this reading or writing? Like, where am I putting this?
It's literacy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's literacy at the beginning.
Well, and Turner has been doing it too, and he's 3, but he's just watching him do it. So I'm like, sure, here you go.
Yeah.
Okay, done.
And Beth's question earlier was like, how much do we have them like read paper out of like an actual physical book and see words versus like of screen reading to them and highlighting? I think it's fine to mix it. Amy can weigh in too, but like mix it up. Like they will stay connected and they can do cool stuff with computers that teach it better than we could out of a book. And then vice versa, like talking about something in a book, there's all these different things. So I think just like having a variety. One time my friend's a nutritionist one time told me I couldn't keep track which vegetables were better steamed, fresh, or canned. Because she'd be like, well, these ones are better fresh and these ones are, and I'd be like, I can't. And she's like, that's why you just eat a variety. No one needs to remember what one is best. Just like sometimes steam stuff, sometimes eat them fresh. Just make sure you're doing it. And like, that's the kind of thing with this one. Like it can be electronic, it can be outside. It can like, just make sure that they're doing some sort of the thing. And and I think just having dedicated time that you're like, we call it school. Like we're doing school today and we call it outside PE,
recess.
Yeah. Or recess.
Yeah.
And Go Noodle's really fun for that. Well, that is a website that they can do stuff. I know there's a yoga one.
Yeah, there's Kids Cosmic Yoga.
We always take a break kind of in the middle because for me, my 1-year-old is up in the middle of the day before an evening nap and morning nap. And so like that is when I actually want to get out of the house because I can take we can go ride bikes during that time. So I can't teach from 9 to 3. You just do a little chunk, have a break, do a little chunk like that. And then there was one other, I showed you guys like different options for like fun bingo things. I think it is important to have things that your kids can do separately as on their own, whether one goes to the bedroom and one is in the playroom for a certain amount of time that requires nobody else working with them. Building a Lego, playing with their toys, whatever that is for your own sanity and for theirs to debrief because they're going to be with their siblings a lot. And there's no real, we can't get play dates. And there's no going to the park to, all these other things. And so I think it's really important for them to have separate time that you've scheduled in. It's hard to do one-on-one with you, but it can just be this is we call it quiet time or downtime. That I don't care what you do, play with your trucks, build something. The baby's trying to get on in here if you can hear him in the background pushing his walker. Okay, so the last 2 things I'm going to share, I think, do you guys need more help? We talked a lot about math. The other things to think about math are like, think about money as math. There's fun. I found stuff on that Starfall about like counting money, which is bigger, 25 cents, like versus this. You could use actual like Monopoly money and do something with that. That was like, in playing games is great. Like we made like Cohen, my 5-year-old, continue to count the money for Monopoly, or we were playing this little game, the farming game. And I'd be like, okay, if you have 7, if I gave you a 5, how many more do you need? That's math. And Uno and games and all that kind of stuff. Okay, are there any other like math questions?
No.
Kathy asks, are there any other things on Prime and Netflix, like shows that you know of? So I downloaded, and I haven't looked at it. I got from some homeschooling mom something like 150 Netflix shows that are educational. And I downloaded the list, and I will give them to you guys. But I don't know what they're all age appropriate, if they're all Nat Geo documentaries. There's Magic School Bus. There's ones like that have some sort of like learning to them. And then, sometimes they just want to watch TV. Scavenger hunts are super fun. Amy, go ahead. You look like you're going to say something.
Oh, I was just thinking like the shows that my girls watched when they were 3-year-olds were like PBS shows, like Peg and Cat is a good one that's about math. I mean, it's a TV show, so it's not like interactive.
Oh, what's that one with?
But Peg and Cat is good. And then there's another one for reading that's called Super Readers.
Yeah.
I can.
There's
I'll
Super
tell you the song here in a second.
Millie and Bot.
Oh.
Do you guys know that one?
Storybot.
Storybot?
Storybot.
No, it's
Or Super Y.
Super Y.
Super Y. Super Y. Yeah.
No,
Super
there's
good.
another
Storybot is
it's all
amazing.
math. It's really good, and they have Millie and Bot, and it's on Nickelodeon.
Oh,
and they
Umizoomi.
Umizoomi, Team Umizoomi.
That's good.
That actually is a great one, Kathy. Team Umizoomi, and it's all math. It's like, how are they going to get there? What's the next number in the pattern?
Mm-hmm.
That's on Nickelodeon, isn't it? It's Nick.
Yeah, I think so. We were
Yeah.
really into that.
That's a good
Okay, and so
There's also one called what is it? It's like they make the words with like the characters, the letters with the characters. It's called
it's not Super Y?
Word World. Word World, I think it's called. That one is a great one that 3-year-olds like. I think it's called Word World.
Okay, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Okay. Storybot is amazing. If you.
Okay.
And actually, I mean, Brennan, who's in 1st grade, thinks it's like for little kids. Turner loves it. He's 3. But Reeves will watch and he's 5. And it's every episode is a different like question. Like, why do I brush my teeth?
Oh, yes.
It's just life skills.
That's the same with another
Why does the computer work? Like, where does chocolate come from? Like, random questions. But it goes through, and like a lot of famous, like, I don't know what they were just watching. I think the chocolate one, and like Snoop Dogg was on it. I mean, it was hilarious. But the other one that the older ones have gotten into, if you want like history, like a random history lesson, was the Who Was show on Netflix.
That's good.
If there is a set of books called the Who Was.
Yeah, I've seen those with the oversized heads.
Yes. And so the Who Was show is like a bunch of kind of like tween age, and they're like producing a TV show, and every episode there's 2 famous people. So they watched like Gandhi and George Washington, and clearly they weren't at the same time, but they give you their history and where they were, and then they like rap or they like make YouTube videos. Like they had Joan of Arc and Albert Einstein, and they were both doing YouTube hair tutorials. Like, but they give you like the history of who they are. And so you kind of know. So Brennan has been really enjoying that because he's like, oh, I know who that is. Like, and you can see what they've learned in school. And if not, you can say, okay, cool. What did you learn? Like, what's one thing that you learned about them?
And I think you could even take that, like, because I feel like we're going to be like extending these so long. Like if they get into a character, I would like let them research a little bit more online and write down 3 facts about them. And we might draw a picture of them. If it was George Washington and he's on money, we might talk about that.
Right.
You know, like just trying to like bring in other things beyond, you know, if you do a shapes pattern, Umizoomi does a lot of like patterns to get to one place or the other. So like you could do that around your house, like lay out triangle, triangle, square, triangle, triangle, square. What's the next part of the pattern?
I love that.
And so the last thing, and I shared this on my Insta Live, but something that's been working for us, and you can take it or leave it. We started it at home before the virus, long time ago, because the kids are bugging me every day to use iPad, and they'd like sneak away to get YouTube kids time or use their little like game thing, and it was like driving me nuts. So I decided we were going to get tickets for game time, and every time they earned a ticket, every ticket's worth 2 minutes, was worth 2 minutes of whatever they wanted. If they had, you know, 5 tickets, they could cash them all in at once. They could do one at a time. Whenever they wanted to use it, they just handed me it, started Alexa, and then when the timer went off, they gave it back. And in the beginning, I tried to really give a lot of tickets. So like, you know, if I found them doing something good, wow, like you guys got ready for bed with no complaints tonight, you each get a ticket. I was kind of just like throwing out tickets a lot in the beginning. I never take the tickets away because I do feel it's like they get consequences other ways, you know, in timeouts and whatever else. But I don't ever take them away because I feel like once you've earned them, they're kind of like yours. And so I don't take them away for that. But then it even has worked like with a babysitter, or like my mom's here, and she was like, you know what, you guys did a great job like picking up without me asking. I'm going to give you each a ticket. Or like you guys both brought your plates over and I really appreciate that, or, you know, helped with whatever. So what I've done now that we're like homeschooling, because my boys still love the tickets and it's going to work until it doesn't. So I'm going to keep doing it until it doesn't work anymore, and then we'll switch. And I am going to caveat this and saying in the classroom, I am not one for doing these types of things. I don't think that you should have good behavior to get a ticket. I think you have good behavior because you have good behavior. Like I never, like my class never could win like pizza parties for things. I guess I was a little bit upper elementary, but at home, I think it really like helps them. They get excited for the things, especially when we're teaching them. And so every time they do the checklist for that checklist I made, they get a ticket for every day of doing a check. So if they did their math that day, they get a check. And at the end of the day, we'll kind of be like, wow, you got 3 tickets today. Great job. We did math, reading, and whatever. And then I had these on hand. So I had a little prize basket that I had some like Lego boxes on hand. This is such a dumb teacher mom thing, but I had books on hand. Like who wants to win a book? But like there's books in here. And there's like mini Legos I might make worth less, but they know they have to get like 10 tickets to cash in one of these bigger ones. And then they can also use them to cash in for to watch like something mindless like YouTube Kids. But they actually haven't done that yet. They've mostly just wanted to save a bunch to try to get like a new Lego to build. And so that can be, I don't know if that works or not for you, but I found that to be super helpful. Then I don't ever have to be like, can I please watch the iPad? Can I please do this? Plus they're doing a lot of iPad and stuff work with all, now that we're home, with interactive reading stuff. Brain Pop is a free resource online, and it's leveled, and they have free now because of this. I don't know how much you have access to, but it's leveled, and they have games. And ABC Mouse, I've used that at home. That's my, like, sometimes I'll be like working my job and my kids are awake and I'll let them do the computer next to me with ABC Mouse. But I like the concepts. It reads to them. I think it's a great resource as well. So any of those kind of electronic ones.
So what's Brain Pop?
Brain Pop was like, I just started clicking around, but it's like games and stuff.
Okay.
Like math games, reading games.
Okay.
I've been given that by a lot of people. Actually, my cousin's in like early childhood education right now, and I was posting about things, and she's like, "Hey, check out Brain Pop Kids." So I did. I went on there, and it's cool. Like there's good stuff on there. I was impressed.
And that's that. Do you guys have any other questions?
No, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is amazing. Like, just super helpful. I mean, yeah, Beth, I know Beth's a former teacher. I'm a teacher. I'm sure there's a lot of other teachers on here too, but it's just like when it's your own kids, like,
Oh,
Not only that, but my biggest concern was like, should I try to align with what they're learning at school? Like we've gotten their, newsletters home in the past, and I have them from March. It's like, all right, well, so and so is doing money and so is doing fractions. And so should I be focused on trying to align and keep kind of just build off of what they've done in school? Or should I just really just make sure that they have access to literacy, access to math, access to some sort of science, social studies, PE, art, and not worry about actually the content, just that their brains being activated?
I think you're gonna burn even from
I would do
a
that.
teacher, you're gonna burn yourself out trying to do a curriculum yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're doing it with multiple children. On Amy's kids are the same age, so you have twins, so you have the same age. But like, it's a lot to even from a teacher's brain to like come up with the two things in multiple subjects, reading, math, and things that would align with the curriculum. And if they give it to you, great, use it. But I think just like you said, that second option of like just making sure that they're not gonna have any deficits of like not knowing how to spell because their mom left it out at the at home learning. The other thing that's super fun to do during this time that's really good learning that we kind of never get a chance to do with our kids is like little science experiments at home.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you guys know Mystery Science?
Mm-mm.
Mystery Science is a great resource, and they're doing lots of free lessons right now because of what's going on. Usually teachers have to pay to have it in their school, but Doug will be your friend. He is like the science, you guys know, like Bill Nye.
Yeah.
We grew up with Bill Nye, the science guy. Well, he's like the modern version of Bill Nye, the science guy. He doesn't do as many like experiments, but it's cool because he activates their prior knowledge, and he always starts every lesson with a little, what do you know? And this is what we know. And it's all video based. And then if you want to do the little lesson or experiment that goes along with it, he shows you all the materials that you need. So it's really fun, and it's really easy to prep. You probably have most of the materials at home because it's like, paper clips and toilet paper tubes. Well, maybe we don't have that. There might not be toilet paper tubes.
watch out. Yeah.
Watch out, right? Yeah.
Experiment with wine.
But that one is a good one. Yeah, Mystery Science.
And I think too, just from like a stamina perspective of what I've gone through, like learning and doing this for 7 days with the kids, is that I would, if I was doing a science experiment day, I might not do a lot of other subjects that day.
Yeah, do science like twice a week. Social studies twice a week. That's what they would be doing in school. They wouldn't be doing it every day.
And I wouldn't try to like do that and the math and the reading and the writing and it's a lot. The kids don't have the stamina that you think. Like lessons have to be short. They've got to, interact and so just kind of give yourself grace on that of like, and maybe you make kind of like a weekly schedule for yourself that's like, these are the 2 science things we're going to do this week. Have the kids buy in on it. If they really want to plant flowers, that can be one of the things, or and just kind of get yourself like, here's kind of what we'll do for outside this week. Here's kind of what we'll do for like science, social studies, and that kind of thing. Another fun thing that I'll just share, Zoom is free. This, I pay for this one, but you can get a Zoom account with up to so many for free. And if you wanted to have their little friends all jump on and see each other, because we can't really have play dates, tomorrow I'm having like Grady's friends are all wearing green for St. Patrick's Day, and they all did 3 wishes that they're going to give for a leprechaun. They wrote a little thing, and then they're going to get on and like share them together. So that's also like, I don't know, if you ever felt like you needed a connector with the kids and you can't get out and about, you could do something electronic like that. They could all prepare, my superhero is blank, and they get to share it with their friends or their grandparents or, something like that.
That's such a good idea.
I did Zoom this morning with my 15 kindergartners, and it went great. They loved it. So
Amy's in a private school, so I think they get to still keep teaching.
We're doing full online distance learning. It's interesting. It's going really well though. Today was their first day, so I was a teacher and a teacher a parent teacher of 2 kids. It was crazy. I was busier than I am at school. I like had no time.
That's gonna be me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think I'm trying to be like really kind of on top of it with the kids' schedule, because I start Wednesday. They're gonna tell us teachers what we're supposed to be doing, and I teach 12th grade. So like, and I teach marketing and business. So like, I mean, none of this is, I got 12th graders that are in an elective. So, for me, I'm kind of like not stressed about that portion, but like, I also have to understand it's going to take me time to implement that kind of stuff too. So I need to kind of have this working in like a regimented way, or just have kind of like a concept of like what I want to do kind of per day or per, week, so that I'm not stressing out about my kids and I can focus on getting that other stuff done so that I can actually maybe enjoy some of this time with the kids.
Yeah.
And early bedtime for all.
Yes.
One thing I told my class today was that this is a new experience for all, and parents, everyone is, going through this together. It's all new and everyone's a little bit more stressed than usual. So to have grace and patience with everyone. And I also told them to talk with their parents about a way to ask for help that's nonverbal. So have like a signal. So like when you start your calls, or like my husband's on conference calls while I'm on conference calls, and so there's nobody to help them. So you can't just come up to us and, scream at us that you need help. So we talked about like using like the H signal for hand signal for help, or like a peace sign, or come up with some sort of like red and green sign. So like, yes, it's green. You can come up to me right now and ask me for help. No, it's red. You may not come up to me right now, because younger kids are really visual. So they need some sort of signal like, oh, okay, I have to wait, and then have like some sort of box of things that they can do while they're waiting to get help. So maybe it's a puzzle, or, a game, or like Lego, something that they can go to. You can even call it like a help box, so that they know, like, if mommy or daddy is busy right now, I go to that box, I wait for them, and then you have seen that they need help, so they know that So that might help.
And I think putting things up, they're used to in their classrooms having things up and around.
Yeah.
So whether it's a sticker chart, a visual, a bingo, if you want them to put things on their bingo list that they can only do on their own, that they can get out Legos. They could dress their dolls. I don't know other ones, but like, make a comic book, make a joke book, have things on there, and they could go like pick it. That's going to be a fully their deal. I love that help box thing. Is fun.
Help box is like genius. Because I have like a whole closet full of Christmas presents that the kids, my mom over buys, that literally they could play by themselves with.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Enjoy a new toy. Just get out of my face.
Yes. We're going to have to be coming up with all kinds of new things, because nobody is ever used to having their kids home and expecting to learn them. And like, this is like summer on steroids, because in the summer they can go to camps, we can go to parks, they can go swimming, we can have play dates. Not now. And so it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah. But I also think that it's silver lining. It's a really fun time to be connected, right? And I think I just went to the grocery store. It was so eerie. It's so eerie out there, and people aren't even talking to each other. And so I think it's kind of a unique time to just connect with your family too, and play more games, and have a movie night, and all those things that when we're all going every which way, you don't always have time to do. So maybe have that on the calendar like once a week, so that they can look forward to it.
I kind of
or
thought of that
twice
too,
a week or whatever.
Of like, should we have them have like a pizza and like sleeping bag movie, night, of like they could like earn that maybe, or like, some fun things that are you can just do as a family. All the different games that they always want to play, you could do those, the puzzles, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If you're comfortable with this, not everyone's comfortable with this, but my husband built this massive fort with them in the front room, with like the blankets and the chair, everything. And it was up for a couple days, but they spent a ton of time inside the fort and loved it. So like, doing those projects that, like, we're not going to have people over, so might as well have your house a little bit messier than usual.
Yeah, they have a kit. It's on like Amazon that you can just.
We have that at our house.
Yeah.
A fort kit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ours was from National Geographic, and it's like
Yeah.
rods and things, and then you put a blanket
Oh,
over it. And it's actually very cool. They can build. It's a great reminder. I'm
Wow.
gonna have my husband bring that here, the fort kit.
Yeah, it's
I'm
really
staying at my mom's, and so all of
and then
our
I just
supplies are.
I piled them up with a bunch of sheets that don't fit any of the beds anymore, and I'm like, here. They love it.
Okay. Marilia said, quick recipe for fun dough is called cloud dough. Make equal parts hair conditioner and cornstarch. Add a little bit of one or the other till it's non-sticky and it's silky and smells great. Love that.
That's a good idea.
So
You can
my
also
email
make it
is
with barbasol.
Keely@gmail. And if you guys want to email me, Lindsay asked for, and I don't know which Lindsay this is. Is this the Lindsay? I know about 15 Lindsays. And the editing the checklist, wondering if you have a Canva account. I made that in Canva, so I can share my template, but you have to have it. Canva's free. It's canva.com. I figured it was Kalawahee. I will share it with you, and if you don't, just email me what you want on the checklist. It takes me 2 seconds to put the children's names on there and like what you want on the list, and I can like send you the PDF. So, I mean, sometimes that's easier than me trying to share it with you on Canva and figuring it out. So just email me what you want and I can quickly do their names and what you want under each box and whatever. And I'm sure, you know what, in 2 weeks, you guys were going to like get in a different groove and have to change something else, and we'll figure out what works and doesn't work, and then we'll just keep going. So,
one more thing, Amelia. Does anybody have like a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grader?
No.
Oh, Mary Leah,
here, I'll unmute you.
She's muted.
They're not, they're not my kids. They're other people's kids, but I'm homeschooling 2 2nd graders and 2 4th graders.
Okay. Because the only thing I thought about when Beth asked about the alignment to standards is that in those grades, they do, I don't know if they're going to be doing it, but testing.
They canceled the testing, I think.
Oh, they did cancel the testing?
Yeah, I think they did.
Wow.
Then I would, but those were the only grades that I thought of. Maybe I would go on to OSPI and just download the grade level standards for those grades, just so you have an idea.
I went on there and they said they were going to be like one of the boys is in the EAP program, and they said they were going to have services on OSPI, but they don't have anything up yet. So
okay.
Or resources.
And our district is still, like we heard from the teachers, we were doing remote learning, but now it's not equitable across the whole state because now the whole state's out.
Yeah, what happened with that, Amelia?
I think it's because here, I'm going to stop the recording.